victory alone isn't enough, you raise your bar, keep dreaming, and go beyond the limits of what you ever thought possible. The new 2024 Ridgeline Passport Empire, part of our most rugged trail sport lineup yet. From home.
Two gruesome murders, unsolved, same area, same MO. Can a man known as the Zombie Hunter help police find a killer?
And he's defending the world against zombies.
48 hours.
And how do we answer that question on the CBS Evening News?
The oldest known cave art in South America is a mysterious motif found in a remote Patagonian cave. That's according to research published Wednesday. Researchers say humans likely used charred wood or burned cactuses to etch this drawing 8,200 years ago. That's just a few thousand years after our species first settled in the region. But it's almost modern compared to the earliest known painting in the world, which the Smithsonian says is this pig painting from 45,000 years ago.
I was gonna drink, but I don't know what's wrong with me.
SpaceX successfully launched a private lunar lander on the moon. It launched at 10
Hey, Golden Streets. How's it going?
Got ahead of herself. The Falcon 9 rocket lifted off from Florida early Thursday morning. It's set to land on February 22nd. If the mission is successful, it would be the first U.S.-born spacecraft to soft land on the moon in more than 5 decades.
Like some kind of hot buffalo, like buffalo wings?
Celestial body. Up next, it's more of today's stories for all of us here at CBS News Primetime. I'm John Dickerson. Thank you for spending the hour with us.
I got a pot pie. A chicken pot pie. I bought this beer, but I don't think I'm going to drink it because I don't think it's agreeing with me. Marie Callender's pot pie. Hey, Bobby Kimball.
For over a century, Olson Plumbing and Heating has been proudly serving generations of families in the Pikes Peak region. We're still family owned and one of the largest and most respected plumbing and heating companies in Colorado Springs.
The rain is coming tomorrow.
Keep your family safe and warm by having your
Hey Aaron, how's it going?
for just $135. Call today and schedule your appointment or visit olsonph.com.
I hope my armadillo and smoke some pot eye for you. I don't think I'm going to drink that beer.
I'm not just accomplished. I'm accomplishing. So I'm doing what I can to help lower my risk of breaking a bone.
I'm going to get some more water.
For postmenopausal women with osteoporosis at high risk,
oh, we're in the forest.
taking
Is it
calcium
red
and
one?
vitamin D may not be enough.
I think it
Adding
is.
Prolia is proven to help strengthen bones and reduce spine fracture risk by 68% with one shot every 6 months. Do not take Prolia if you have low blood calcium, are pregnant, are allergic to it, or take Extrema. Serious allergic reactions like low blood pressure, trouble breathing, throat tightness, face, lip, or tongue swelling, rash, itching, or hives have happened. Tell your doctor about dental problems, as severe jawbone problems may happen with Prolia, or about pain in your hip, groin, or thigh, as unusual thigh bone fractures have occurred. Talk to your doctor before stopping, skipping, or delaying Prolia, as spine and other fractures have occurred. Serious side effects like low blood calcium, serious infections which could need hospitalization, skin problems, and severe bone, joint, or muscle pain have occurred.
And I bought some seaweed dinners for dinner.
Talk to your doctor about Prolia.
Whoa, I feel good. Na 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 na. I knew that I would. Na 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 na. I feel good. Na 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 na. I knew that I would. So good. I got you.
Hello, Dad.
Yeah, you know, just get back from my routine. I feel good.
I think that was a Super Bowl commercial.
Were you worried the wedding would be
The poor guy. He got ran over by his own tractor, darn it.
Why can't they use my backyard?
He's an actor, but I don't know. He was in some popular show.
What's next?
But look, he looked like he did a good recovery. Thank goodness.
This is your world. CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich and the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell. of what matters most. Join Juliette Goodrich and Nora O'Donnell, weeknights 6 to 7:30 on KPIX and CBS News Bay Area.
You used to eat those banquet pot pies, right? They're good.
Everybody who listens that you lived through hell.
Those are still pretty good.
1883. All episodes now streaming exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Oh, you're going to Home
Every
Depot?
night to be factual and fair. That's our goal. I'm always looking at where the story goes next. I hope that our guests come on and share something. Americans are feeling pretty hard. That you will leave better informed. I can tell you that.
So this guy, he always goes to the clearance rack. So today he goes, oh, I went to my Lowe's. They have a rigid, a hammer drill, an impact, a sawzall, a multi-tool, 2 batteries, $215. It was on sale for 400 and something. But not every Home Depot has the same clearance. So you kind of have to go. I forgot to look at the clearance. I tried to look for it at Lowe's. I couldn't find it. But Home Depot, same thing. A lot of times you go to the clearance rack, not a whole lot of good stuff. And sometimes there's some really good stuff.
And a judge has denied Donald Trump's request to dismiss the criminal hush money case against him, and that trial will start next month. The former
We're right on
president
Luther.
attended the hearing in New York City this morning. A grand jury indicted him last year on 34 counts of falsifying business records. Trump has pleaded not guilty. And winter storms are moving towards the northeast.
The beer
200 million
kind of
Americans
wasn't
see
agreeing with
temperatures
me.
below freezing this weekend. Meanwhile,
Maybe I'll drink it tomorrow to be all flat.
faces a new round of heavy rainfall.
New York got some snow.
New details have
Patty
emerged
Love
from
sent me a
yesterday's
photograph
deadly
of
shooting
snow.
after the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl parade. Police say more than 20 people were wounded. Authorities have taken 3 suspects
Like a
into
foot or
custody.
2 feet.
A man who says that he, his wife, and his son all sustained non-life-threatening gunshot wounds told CBS Mornings what his daughter saw yesterday.
My daughter said that some lady was like holding him back, and people had started backing up, and then pulled it out and just started shooting and spinning in a circle. That's what they said.
Lisa Lopez Galvan was killed
Aw.
in the shooting. She was a popular local DJ and mother of 2. We're going to go now to Charlie DeMar, CBS News' correspondent, who is
Isn't that
there
sad? You
in
go to a
Kansas
party
City.
to celebrate.
Charlie, talk to us about what we heard from authorities, and in addition to updating the number of people who were injured and giving us new details about the fatality. They had a lot to say about the current state of the investigation.
It wasn't like a crazy person. I think these people got in a fight, pulled out the weapon.
From the beginning of that press conference, that at least at this point in the
I don't think-
investigation, there is no evidence to suggest that this was an act of homegrown terrorism or extremism. This does appear to be a dispute between a number of individuals that escalated into gunfire that we saw at the end of the Kansas City Chiefs parade here in Kansas City yesterday. What started off as such a joyous event and obviously erupted into that.
Well, they haven't
Police
told
found
us
that there are
anything.
23 victims, including Elizabeth Galvan, the popular DJ who passed away. She was 43 years old. We're told that the ages of the victims range from 8 years old to 47 years old. And this stat really stood out from the police chief, that half of those victims are under the age of 16. Now, we know that a number of them did suffer gunshot wounds being treated at
I think
local
there were
hospitals.
a
At
couple
last
minors,
check,
probably.
we are told that they are all expected to survive. As you mentioned, at least 2 juveniles are in custody right now, but charges have yet to be filed, Lana.
Yes, and on that note, Charlie, they didn't have a lot to say in terms of many of the questions that we were hearing from the journalists there, in part because there is an ongoing investigation. But did we learn anything more about the weapons that were recovered?
That was one of the questions asked, what kind of weapons? I know in a number of videos circulating online, you actually can see the weapons pretty clearly in those videos. So a number of reporters asked the police chief if they could confirm what type of weapons they used. Police being pretty generic about it, saying they recovered several weapons, but didn't say what type of weapons were used. Yesterday, just saying that they recovered a number of weapons and that the investigation.
It says the crust is made from scratch,
where we are now, you can see it,
and the sauce.
Still collecting evidence throughout the morning because where we were,
It's got
pretty much
chicken in it.
as soon as those shots began yesterday. So police again looking for evidence, maybe some evidence that wasn't as clear as just a weapon from somebody who was detained. They really are combing this entire scene to see what was.
So if you put it in the oven,
yesterday.
it takes 50 minutes, right?
We've heard from the
Can you imagine
chief
50
yesterday
minutes in the
and from
oven?
mayor
That's
that
almost
they
an
were
hour.
Angry. We heard them
The
defending
microwave,
Kansas
6.5
City. There was an
minutes,
anger
right?
at
Whoever
police
invented the
from,
microwave,
some of the reporters, it
was
sounded
like-
like, who said
right?
gun violence actually is a part of Kansas City. Given that
I wouldn't be
you're
able to
there
eat
and
it without a
talking with
microwave.
people,
I don't have an oven.
What are the different emotions that you're encountering?
People are upset. I mean, Kansas City was very much on the national world stage in the past few weeks and months with the football team and with everything off of their football team. They won.
See a bunch of kids fuck it all up. Got in a fight and started shitting people. Oh, darn it. Alright. Chicken stuff on my boot. Darn it. Now it's all over me. Okay. I'm a messy eater. That was a big piece of crust too. I wanted to eat that, darn it. Shoot.
Quentin Lucas saying that they are going to continue to have celebrations, parades, and continue to go on with life. All right, Charlie Demar, thank you. We're going to bring in now Felipe Rodriguez. He is an adjunct professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice.
My foster parents would always cook
for the NYPD.
but they would
we
have
have talked before, Felipe, about these types
Hot
of
fire.
incidents, and it's so often that we are trying to understand the motive. In this case, the investigation is ongoing, but it looks increasingly like this was not related to terrorism. It looked like it was some sort of altercation that took place between certain individuals. How does that change, in some ways, the narrative about this shooting?
The narrative is just basically the motive. At the end of the day, we still have so many victims that suffered such a violent incident. As a nation, we have to start thinking about how we're going to stop this pandemic of gun violence in our nation. I mean, this is our 47th mass shooting, and think about it, we're only up to February, mid-February. At this point, we have to actually look and say, are we going to head towards constitutional carry, or are we going to require people to have at least the basic fundamentals of when they should possess and even use a firearm?
So what are the challenges now as this investigation is taking place?
My stomach
This
hurt.
investigation is
Something's wrong.
You got to remember, you have
I was
a
drinking that beer and it
crime
was like,
scene, and the biggest part which we don't understand is to
not
properly
heartburn,
charge
but
someone
something.
under the eyes of the laws. We have to be
So I
able
was
to
like,
define each
maybe I
one's
shouldn't
actions.
drink.
So it's a lot of video review, eyewitness, testimony that needs to be brought about. It's a lengthy investigation. We have to give a little bit of time because if we don't get every little piece of that puzzle correct, it's going to make the prosecution difficult. And guess what? Someone could actually be found innocent in such a horrible and horrific shooting.
And Felipe, the police said that at least 2 of the 3 people that they currently have in custody are juveniles. How does that change potentially the charges, the way that this crime is going to be pursued?
Correct. The world has changed after a couple of police incidences. We look at things which fall under procedural justice. How are we going to go forward in the prosecution of a case, but also not wanting to diminish, the needs of the defendant? So at this point, the prosecutor is going to have to decide whether they're going to be tried as juveniles or tried as adults. And that also, changes the motive in the investigation a little bit, but we still have to get all the evidence. It's just as a nation, we can't have these young kids running around with guns. We have to do something.
Yeah, and on that note, there were more than 800 officers
all
at
kids
the
have
parade.
weapons, right?
And
Not
yet
all, but
this still happened.
in the
How
city.
do you actually prevent violence like this?
Other
Is there a
places like
possibility that it
Texas
can
or
be
whatever.
prevented, or is it just a matter of a response after it happens?
It's more of a sociological issue. We just have so many factors that have changed policing, especially after COVID. We see that, you know, we're diminishing our officers. We don't have enough officers to patrol the streets as it is. So the only way we're going to have to do this is through education, and we have to change some legislation. Constitutional carry, and just giving a person a gun because they're entitled to it, I don't think that's the way to go. We don't do that with a car or a drive. You know, you have to get a driver's license. Basic fundamentals of firearms should be respected at all times.
Oh, they're $1.
Felipe Rodriguez,
This
thank
one
you.
was $4.
Well, this video shows
I like those.
two men
Those are the
tasked with
ones I
shooting
used to eat.
chased by police following yesterday's Super Bowl victory parade. After the suspect dropped the firearm, one woman standing nearby helped police to recover it. One of those men and the woman are here with us now. Their names are Casey and Trey Filter. Thank you both for
Aw.
being here. First of all, how are you doing right now?
Well, we're pretty good for now, I guess. I mean,
We're a little frazzled. We haven't slept much. It's just been a kind of a whirlwind here today. We're finding out about what happened with families, like everybody else, and it's just been a lot going on.
It's a lot. Can you talk about what happened yesterday in terms of your altercation with the shooter, and do you remember what went through your mind when you jumped into action?
I wasn't thinking much. I have a history, but we were just leaving.
Do you think they still have Popeyes for $1? That sounds like a really good deal. I could eat 4 of them then. The TV keeps doing that and glitches.
Pushing people yelling, you know, get him. So basically, I just looked to my left, and shot. I didn't think much. And thank God there was a gentleman that jumped in to assist me. The entire time we're holding him down, people are yelling, he's got a gun, he's got a gun, he's got a gun. So I was under the impression that he was still in possession of a weapon. My wife, at the same time that was happening, the gun had fallen out. You know, when he was tackled, the gun fell, and she secured the weapon, and
Yeah. Casey, I want to get your take on it because, as Trey said, you had your boys with you. How old were they, and what were you thinking about in terms of their safety?
they're 15 and 12.
See, that guy was a hero because
And
he didn't think about
we
it.
just
He
wanted, once it, the
people were
officer
going, "Hey,
arrived, we just wanted
get
to
that guy," and most people
that was
will be scared.
our
You know,
big main concern. So
he tackled him, which is really
for
good.
our family, so that's just what we did. We got out of there.
And when you looked down and you saw the
I
firearm
don't think
there,
I'm gonna drink this
what
beer.
went through your
My
mind?
stomach is fucked up.
We did it somewhere where no one can get it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know, we didn't know if they were somebody else. We didn't know that the other suspect had been apprehended, and so we just didn't know.
Trey and Casey, do either of you have any law enforcement or military training?
no, ma'am. No,
And you just jumped into action because something needed to be done?
Right?
I reacted without thinking.
It was fucking great.
Well,
Good
Trey,
job.
talk to us about how this incident.
Look, it's
will
getting
impact-
cold. The rain is coming tomorrow. It's gonna rain for a week.
I don't plan to make any changes moving forward in my life.
It's
Do you
cold.
think you'll continue to go to big events like this? You'll go,
I
the mayor
intend
was
to
talking, yeah, the mayor was talking today about the St. Patrick's Day parade is just around the corner. Does any of this give you hesitation about going there or bringing your boys?
Well, I mean, we're in no hurry to run back to a parade in Kansas City. We're fortunate. However, I mean, we're not going to change any patterns as far as going to
Where are you guys from?
Public events or anything of that nature.
If there's something we want to go to, we're gonna go.
And Casey, let me just ask you how your boys are doing today and what kind of conversations you've had with them about this.
We're at school right now. They're just really proud of their dad.
Yeah.
And it's all really sinking in right now. I don't think they really have found the words to tell us how they really feel about it.
MTV.
Certainly,
It's a mess.
your action and heroism and doing what needed to be done in that moment is commendable. Casey and Trace Filter, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Israeli troops have stormed the hospital in southern Gaza, claiming it's being used by Hamas.
It's too messy. Hey, Stugas. You can see all my tools.
Was killed and 6 others were wounded overnight. Thousands who were sheltering in the medical complex have since been evacuated. CBS News foreign correspondent Ian Lee has more.
So
Chaos inside Nasser Hospital.
I felt like this for half the day, like around lunchtime. Well, actually all morning, all day today, I guess. It's usually just when I go to sleep and then wake up and I don't feel good. But now it's
ordered thousands of Palestinians to evacuate ahead of time, but patients and medical staff were allowed to stay.
We have credible intelligence from a number of sources, including from released hostages, indicating that Hamas held hostages at the Nasser hospital in Khan Yunis.
Along the Egyptian border, more Israeli airstrikes on Rafah. This week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed a powerful assault on the city, despite warnings from the U.S. and other allies to protect civilians.
The only way forward is a ceasefire, and we hope and pray it comes as soon as humanly possible.
More than 1 million Palestinians have fled to Rafah. Their fate is up in the air as diplomats battle back and forth.
Look, they're playing volleyball. Aw.
Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
And you could hear like gunfire in the background.
For financial aid. Coming up, we're going to look at how colleges are rolling out their own.
Isn't that crazy?
We're streaming CBS News.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll probably go to bed early. I'm not feeling too good. I'm going to smoke a cigarette. Maybe smoke some pot.
Eczema disrupts my skin night and day. Despite treatment, it's still not under control. But now I have Rinvoq. Rinvoq is a once-daily pill that reduces the itch and helps clear the rash of eczema fast. Some Rinvoq patients felt significant itch relief as early as 2 days. Some achieved dramatic skin clearance as early as 2 weeks. And many taking Rinvoq saw clear or almost clear skin.
Rinvoq can
So not a whole lot going on.
infections, including TB, serious infections and blood clots, some fatal, cancers including lymphoma and skin, heart attack, stroke, and GI tears occur. People 50 and older with a heart disease risk factor have an increased risk of death. Serious allergic reactions can occur. Tell your doctor if you are or may become pregnant.
Help heal your painful skin. Disrupt the itch and rash of eczema. Talk to your doctor about Rinvoq.
Learn how AbbVie can help you save.
At Sutter, more than 1,800 primary care doctors never stop listening. Hello, Tiger. 504 nurses never stop helping the tiniest patients. Hello, Tiger. 67 imaging centers never stop catching it earlier. And 19 stroke centers never stop making every second count. More connected and more driven than ever. At Sutter, getting better never stops.
Used car shopping?
2 rows, 2 dogs. We're sold.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's pause for the facts. Like nearly half of all used cars, this puppy has been in an accident. But Carfax.com shows how an accident impacts price, so you don't have to overpay.
Huh?
Unpause
Flats.
Wow, this is cool. Yeah, sorry they called.
Shop with the facts at the
Just a little bit of blue sky.
Recently, I got a letter from someone who loves Reese's. A real letter, like on paper.
Thanks, Artie, from Tonawanda. You can email us next time.
Introducing Ned's Black Psoriasis. He thinks his flaky red patches are all people see.
Otezla is the #1 prescribed pill to treat plaque psoriasis. It can help you get clearer skin. Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Serious allergic reactions can happen. Otezla may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Some people taking Otezla have depression, suicidal thoughts, or giggles. Upper respiratory tract infection and headache may occur.
Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla.
And on the free CBS News app. A story's just begun.
Why did you want to share your story? Where are these coming from? I'm a very curious person. I wake up every morning and ask what's happening in the world, why is this happening, and how do we answer that question on the CBS Evening News? We aim every night to be factual and fair. That's our goal.
Colleges are offering some help to students struggling with financial aid applications. The Department of Education has FAFSA form, but that has run into a series of delays and glitches and errors. Schools have responded by extending deadlines, and some are now offering their own aid forms in addition to the federal forms. Let's bring in Medora Lee now to break this down for us. She recently covered this for USA Today, where she's a money and finance reporter. Medora, good to have you back with us. So,
your leg's feeling better, huh, Tiger?
even if students fill out these new forms from colleges, they still need to complete the FAFSA. So how is this going to help as opposed to just create more work?
That's right, but this is a great thing that the colleges are doing. They developed their own forms and used all their formulas, and so what they can do is they can different schools are doing different things. Some schools are actually guaranteeing the institution award that they can give students. So students can fill out their form. It's just as short as FAFSA, it's not shorter, and get an idea of what their costs will be and what kind of eligibility they'll have for school. So they'll get their institution award that's based on need or merit, and then they will also break down what they think that they'll get from the government if they need it. And so that just gives a lot of students and families some financial clarity here when they're going into decision-making mode, deciding which schools they're going to attend in the fall. So it's really helpful.
So the federal government has acknowledged the problems that they've had, and they said that they've been working on fixes. But what should students do if they're still having trouble completing these applications?
Yeah, the only thing that they can do is keep trying. I know that sounds terrible, but all the schools know that this is going on, and so they're trying to be flexible. They moved around some dates for students, and so they're all aware of this. But really contact your counselors, your financial aid offices, and talk to them about what they might have to offer. Maybe they'll have a form like this that they can fill out and try to at least get an idea of what their breakdown for financial aid will be, or talk to them about what your issues are and kind of just be on their map for when you are ready to talk to them.
All right, and a lot of additional tips and details in your article, Medora Lee. Thank you.
Thank you.
This week, scientists and environmental organizations from hundreds of countries are meeting in Uzbekistan.
It's like whatever's in my throat or whatever, it's like I could feel it.
Wildlife species that are in danger of going extinct. Ahead of that meeting, a report from the UN on the current status of those species is alarming. Nearly half of all listed species have declining populations. 1 in 5 migratory species overall are threatened with extinction. And nearly all migratory fish species, 97%, are in danger of becoming extinct. So what can be done about this?
What is it, too much pollution?
CBS News national environmental correspondent David Schechter is in Dallas for us. So David, explain more about the findings of this report.
Hey, Greasy. I think I'm going to call it an early
Great
night.
to be with you. So every year,
I don't know.
countries from
There's
around
nothing
the world
going on.
come
Watch
together
TV.
to collaborate on ways that we can all help save migratory species and their habitats.
Migratory.
It's a global issue because by definition, these are birds and fish and animals that when they migrate, they are crossing international borders. So that new UN report that you mentioned is a major effort to update the conditions of about 1,200 species that are from all of these nations, including the U.S., have agreed to protect.
Einstein.
The picture, as you mentioned, it is bleak. About 45% of these creatures are showing population decline, and about 20% are threatened with extinction.
Look at
And most
Einstein.
sadly, nearly all the fish on the list are headed towards extinction. This is significant findings.
Yeah, that fish statistic in particular, that 97% is really alarming, especially when you consider that it's all interconnected. Talk to us a little bit about the role that migratory species actually play in the overall global environment.
Absolutely. You know, it's essential. They play an essential role. Their travel patterns around the planet help stabilize the planet and sustain many of the wild places that people find so beautiful and love so much. Most of us really don't think a lot about this, but migratory species, they pollinate plants, they transport and disperse seeds, and pest control is another big service they provide to us, along with helping the earth store more carbon in the soil, which is the key to fighting climate change.
And what are some of the biggest threats that these migratory species are facing?
Yeah, there's a long list of threats. Some of the big ones are overexploitation, which means like overfishing and overhunting. There's also habitat loss due to human activity. Plus, 3 out of 4 of these UN-listed species are losing their habitat to development. Climate change, of course, pollution and invasive species also have profound impacts on the habitats that migratory species rely on.
David, I started all of this off by saying what can be done, so I'll pose that question to you. What are some of the recommended solutions that are in the report?
I have a piece of chicken in my
It's important,
teeth.
you know, the problem that is this broad, and you're like,
So
how
not
are
a
we
whole lot
gonna do
going
about
on,
this?
everyone,
Solutions
just-
are an important part of this. The first one is to
Not
strengthen
drinking
and
today.
expand efforts to
I took a
tackle
couple drinks,
things like
but-
illegal and unsustainable hunting, fishing, and harvesting of these threatened species from the wild. Another is better management and expansion of the critical habitats that migratory species depend on. And there's also a discussion of significantly expanding that UN list to include more at-risk species to provide protection for more of them.
All right, David Schechter, thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. You're streaming CBS News.
Oh,
30 years of teaching in Philly classrooms, I've
I'm
learned
tired.
just
I'm gonna
how
go to bed.
important it is to share stories that reflect our history. Your history, my history, Black history. Here in the birthplace of our nation,
how it's made. Let's see. I need a toothpick. I have a fluid in my teeth.
For a quick draw. These handcrafted leather belts and holsters are modeled after those made in the late 1800s. They're made for movies, cowboy shooting competitions, and historical reenactments.
Beautiful leatherwork.
A craftsman starts by using a press and a series of dies to cut out the holster and belt components. This is vegetable tanned leather, the only type of leather that's flexible enough to carve or stamp. He lays a paper template over one end of the holster piece and marks tiny dots with an awl. He connects the dots with the straight line using a small knife. He punches a hole at each dot. The lines and holes form 2 wide loops. Next, he carves a groove for stitches along what will be the main seam of the holster body. He sprays water onto the leather to soften
They're
it.
showing how to make a holster.
He makes decorative lines with the compass. Then he imprints a design into the leather by striking a stamp with a mallet. Because the leather is moist, it compresses easily, assuming the shape of the stamp. These stamps are modern-day copies of the ones used in the
So
late
it has this
19th
leather
century.
class, right, in high school or something. And
A rosette is a common
what did I
motif
make?
of
I
leather.
made
He uses one tool for the outline, one for the petals, and another for the center of the flower. Then he adds details with a small chisel-edged knife and stamps on his maker's mark. He shaves any sharp corners and smoothly finishes the edge. The holster piece is now cut, embellished, and finished. The next step is to sew it. He marks the stitch holes across the bottom where he will later sew the toe plug. Then
I made a
fixes
hit
the
at
holes with an awl.
LSD. It was like a leather like this. I put Tweety Bird on it.
Sheep's wool and neat's
I
wool
called it Yellow
and rough
Sunshine.
This nourishes and conditions the leather, preserving the impressions and enhancing the color. Once the oil is soaked in,
That's
he
oil.
applies a smoothing solution onto the edges and rubs them with a piece of canvas. Now the sewing can begin. He folds one end of the piece to form a pouch. Then he sews inside the groove he cut for the main seam. Stitches sunken in a groove are far stronger than surface stitches. When he completes the seam, he burns the end of the polyester thread with a lighter. Then he sews on the toe plug and inserts the pouch into the double loops at the other end of the piece. Next, he works on the belt. After piercing stitch holes in the main belt strip, he sews on a thinner, flexible strip, bending it into loops to hold ammo. He glues on a leather lining to make the belt more durable. Then he sews on the billets. They are the pieces that go on each end of the main belt strip. One billet has the buckle, and the other has the adjustment holes. After applying some decorative nickel studs known as spots, he threads the belt through the holster. And inserts the ammo. This double loop holster is a copy of an 1880s holster designed to hold a single-action army pistol. The craftsman can make several different authentic styles from this era, customizing the holster to carry a weapon of any size or shape. From ocean wildlife to shipwrecks,
Now it's underwater
the undersea
cameras.
world is breathtaking.
The housing.
Many recreational scuba divers want to capture what they see on video. They can do this with an ordinary video camera encased in a specially designed watertight housing unit. This underwater housing has remote camera controls and a built-in monitor that shows you what the video camera sees.
No.
At the factory, a computer-guided
It's a bat
mill
cave.
uses a variety of bits to shape a tube of extruded aluminum. The machine prepares the ends to receive front and back pieces. It forms a groove for a rubber opening
I'm gonna
to
watch
keep
this and
water
go to
out,
bed.
and makes attachment
Tired.
points on each side of the housing for handles. Then the mill cuts the front and back pieces out of 2 blocks of aluminum. The machining process leaves tool marks, so they polish the housing parts by putting them in a tumbler full of ceramic stones. After about an hour of rubbing against the stones, the aluminum is smooth and ready to be anodized.
Oh, wow.
This process etches, dyes, and seals the metal surface, protecting it from the corrosive effects of salt water.
I thought aluminum
Next,
doesn't
a
rust.
computer-guided laser etches in the manufacturer's logo. Laser etching is far more durable than printing because it bleaches the black anodized surface white, so the lettering can't rub off over time. Several parts of the housing are made of plastic. Workers pour plastic pellets into an injection molding machine. The machine melts the pellets, then shoots the liquefied plastic into a mold. After about 15 seconds, the machine opens the mold and ejects a newly formed part. This part is a latch that allows you to open the housing to insert a video camera. The handles are made of rubber-covered aluminum. Each of its camera control buttons has an O-ring around it to keep out water. The controls are powered by 2 lithium batteries that sit inside a separate sealed compartment. When you press a control button, the post underneath it makes contact with electronics inside. This produces an infrared signal that communicates with the camera through tiny glass windows. The back of the housing has a built-in LCD monitor which displays what the camera sees. Both the monitor and camera plug into the same circuit board. The handles fasten to the housing with a threaded ring. There are also holes on top of the housing for attaching a carrying handle. Before attaching the front and back of the housing, they apply rubber O-rings to keep water out. Then they install the flip filter. It attaches magnetically to a pivot on the inside of the housing and is operated by an arm on the outside. This filter is essential because water absorbs certain light wavelengths, eliminating the appearance of red, orange, yellow, and green, depending on how deep you go. To restore these colors in the video, the diver flips the filter over the camera lens. The factory tests every housing to make sure it's completely watertight. The tester inserts a video camera and submerges the housing in a water-filled tank. He pressurizes the tank to simulate the underwater pressure the housing will experience at a depth of about 300 feet. The housing passes the tests, only if all the seals hold up and no water leaks inside, ruining the camera. In addition to a flip filter, divers sometimes use lights to counter the muting effect that underwater depth has on colors. The housing has attachment points on the handles for mounting lights, enabling the video camera to capture the true vivid colors of the undersea world.
Anyways, hey guys. I'm gonna call it a night. So everyone have a good night. And tomorrow's Friday, so weekend's coming. Rain is gonna come. Alright, good night. Oh, let's watch the Addams Family.